Are you ready to give your core some serious attention? In this video, I'll guide you through a fun and effective routine to strengthen all 4 layers of your abdominal wall. So grab a mat, grab a block, and let's get started. Alright guys, let's get started with some warm-up. Get down onto your hands and knees with elbows straight and wrists below the shoulders, and start rounding your spine segmentally. Going into cats in camel, segmentally moving to extension, chest forwards, chin lifts. And then start with the tailbone to flex. And repeat one more time. Okay, let's finish off. Come back to neutral spine. We are threading the needle. So you're twisting to the left, right arm or right shoulder will end up on the ground. Your left hand is pressing down to invite a little bit more rotation into that thoracic spine. Try not to collapse to the ground. Ideally, you would keep your back long or slightly rounded through your middle back. You're looking for a stretch, you're looking for a twist. Repeat on the other side. I'm trying to keep my hips over the knees, so I'm really moving through the mid-back rather than displacing my pelvis. If you're comfortable with that, you can place your head on the ground. And ease up. And we are moving on. So now block between the knees. So medium setup. So your knees stay hip distance. Okay, this is just to activate your adductors. And then we carry on in 4-point kneeling. However, we're now reducing support. So this is warm up for the shoulders before we move on to planks. We're sending that arm overhead with thumbs up. And then we sort of creating a butterfly movement in space, bringing the top of the wrist to the hip with your pinky facing down. So this is our shoulder articular rotation. And again, we're sending arm overhead. You're thinking of your bicep coming closer to your cheek with external rotation, the shoulder, so thumbs up. And then butterfly movement through space, sending arm sideways and behind you and up, palm to ceiling. And then pinky to the floor as you descend down towards the hip and maybe even knee. Reverse the movement, so to extension, abduction, and flexion into external rotation. Bring the hand down, and let's change sides. So again, brace through the tummy, draw your ribs up towards the spine and towards the ceiling. Push down through your right hand. Careful not to collapse here, okay? Or extend the back. You want to really create rigidity in the lumbar spine. So you're squeezing the block. It should help you with stabilization. And again, shoulder cast one more time. Through extension and internal rotation. And then reversing up to ceiling. Through abduction, so you're reaching sideways. And as you're externally rotating, you're also reaching overhead. So you've got, again, the posterior shoulder, your delts working, and even traps working quite hard. Plus that rotator cuff on both sides, really. On the one side, stabilizing. On the moving side, it's actually helping you creating that rotation of the bone in the shoulder. And repeat. This is going to be our last rep on the left arm. Again, careful, if you're fatiguing, just check your form again. It's always good to do it with a mirror next to you so you can see your form. And now we're progressing to scapular cars. So you're going to do shoulder shrugs with arms straight by your side. Okay, hands stay close to the thigh bones, like lateral thigh bones, and just gliding up and down. So we don't actually want to move the shoulder itself. We want to move the scapula. So again, tailbone tucked under, belly nicely braced, glutes working. You can also keep a block between your knees if that helps you with stabilization and bracing. So head stays over the ribs stay over the pelvis. right? Don't let that thoracic spine move. Don't let the ribs flare. And then change direction, going up and forwards, and then down through scapular depression, and then retracting, squeezing shoulder blades together. Careful not to move that back or shoulder. All right, cool. Let's move on. So back onto hands and knees. So now quick prep for the hips. I'm going to do this sort of 4-point knee length position with hands slightly forward so you can sit back quite far back to the heels. Again, try to get those toes extended, okay? So you actually stretching the sole of the foot. We want to prepare the feet for planking. Besides, everyone needs the toes to be able to extend for just regular ambulation lunges. Now, so this is going to be a variation of the plank. We're going to be mixing hip rotation with a bit of plank. So start with knees supported on the block, ideally soft block. You can use a little cushion or a little towel, okay? Something that won't really move though too much. So I'm keeping my knee in a little bit less than 90 degree and I'm pivoting on my kneecap. If you have knee pain, you probably want to maybe skip that particular movement and just focus on the next drill where we're actually lifting the knee. The idea here is that we're rotating the hip, the thigh bone. I'm not really putting too much pressure on the knee. Notice that, I'm really using my hands and my left foot, back foot, and I'm just letting that thigh bone rotate internally, externally in the hip flexion. So if you were to observe the front of my thigh, you will notice that I'm trying not to move my pelvis. All right, guys, this is where the core kicks in. Okay, so we're pressing through the hands. So this is a plank variation. That right knee stays bent. And we're just doing a little lift off of the kneecap off the block. Yeah, so again, push down through the hands. You're going to get this activation of your delts, of your pecs, a lot of abs, of course. And repeat as many times as you like. Every time you lift, hold for a few seconds. Good form. And then very light descent. Now I'm switching here so you can see the other sides. Just be mindful of any compensations that may occur in the lower back. We are again going to that pivot motion on the block. You can have your hands a little bit wider. Now again, careful form, right? We pretty much bracing and stabilizing the scapula, retracting the scapula. The belly is obviously already active, and then external rotation as I'm demonstrating, and then internal rotation. Careful not to displace your pelvis. Okay, the pelvis does not come along for the ride. It's okay if it's small. Again, just be mindful of any pains or pinching that you may be feeling, okay? Because that obviously may be a sign that maybe you need to first work on some hip mobility. But think of this just as an exploration. All right, ready? So progression to the knee. Lift off, down through the hands. And then release back down lightly. Okay, don't relax completely, okay? Just touch down to just offer your belly and back a little bit of support. And then again, you will definitely feel shoulders kicking in here as you're obviously putting a lot of weight through those arms. And repeat, maybe 5-10 times. Every time you lift, hold for 2, 3, 4 seconds. And then reset, light touch. And you go again, bracing, lift off, and hold, right? You can pause the video and carry on for a little bit longer. Next one. Okay, we're going on your back with block between the knees. In fact, you can actually bring the hands behind your head and let's curl up. So lift the head, float the shoulder blades, okay? As I always say, there should be just enough space under the scapulas so I could swipe a credit card underneath. So they slightly off the floor. And we're adding the legs. So on next curl up again, as your lower back imprints and you connect with the mat, straighten the legs, send those thighs away from you a little bit. You're obviously in charge of how low you're going. The lower you go, the harder the abs will have to work. Also, the hip flexors will have to work harder. However, be mindful of that lower back so it doesn't lift off the floor. And again, hold this position. Hold for 3. And bring the knees in back to the tabletop. Relax your head. Deep breath in. Exhale to lift. And then legs away. Pointed toes. Straighten your knees and add some beats. 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. And you carry on from that 10, 4, 5. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. And guys, keep going with those hundreds, keeping your arms straight so movement comes from the shoulders, so you're actually challenging stability through your tummy. Push that lower back down and keep yourself really strong and solid through your upper body. There should be no head bouncing. Pause. Relax. Block away. And rotate. Relax your back. Okay, change direction. Rotate towards your left. Relax your knees and feet. Try to soften your right shoulder blade towards the ground. Few deep breaths. All right, moving on. So back to leg series. You stay on your back. Feel free to put a little cushion below your head. And we're going into single leg stretches. So one knee goes towards the chest, and the other leg will be straightening and lowering towards the ground. And as you're holding this position, press the back of your rib cage down towards the ground, almost eliminating the space below the lower back completely, especially if your head is slightly off the floor. Breathe. 2 and 3 and 4. Just maintain that rhythm. We want to spend a bit of time here, so it's not about pace or number of reps, but it's just that time under tension through the belly. Now progress to bicycles. So now look what I'm doing with my knees. I'm straightening and pointing the toes to ceiling and doing like a nice long stroke with that leg pretty much all the way to the floor. So I'm looking at quality of movement, keeping legs in line with hips, and always straightening those knees as much as I can. Okay, keeping the imprint going, so you can always lift your head if you want a little bit more. Just don't let that lower back lift off. And then pull your knees in, take a moment, relax. All right, guys, so now progression to side planks. Get yourself onto your left side, left forearm, shoulder blades down, rotate slightly to the floor. This will actually get you to feel your obliques more and put your left shoulder in a more comfortable position, maybe safer position. So start with your knees bent, and just again, if you're a beginner, just start lifting your pelvis slightly off the ground. I like to always do this just to make sure that my shoulder feels solid, that I'm feeling I'm starting connecting with those obliques. So I'm not actually relaxing my pelvis completely. I'm just going down and up. It's almost like I'm attempting to do a bit of side bending through my back. And then progression, guys, would be with legs straight. I'm having them one in front of the other. So bottom leg at the back, top foot at the front. And this one in front of the other, squeezing through the inner thighs. And again, I'm lowering and lifting, keeping it small and controlled. And I'm never allowing my left shoulder blade to glide to my ear. Yeah, think of lifting as high as you can. Drop your left knee, relax your pelvis. And then let's progress to side teasers. So we carry on working with obliques and six packs. Okay. So now roll backwards, like 45-degree backwards, and then rise up a little bit. So you're contracting through your right obliques and lifting your legs slightly higher to ceiling. Look at the position of my left arm. I'm actually supporting myself a little bit, and then come back down. So you can slide a block below your head or ball or pillow. And again, so from side lying, you lift your head, shoulders and legs, and then you're rolling back 45 degrees. You will find indentation in your butt cheek. And you're trying to go up. So now we're going right shoulder towards the right knee. It's almost like you're on the left buttock, doing that side teaser, reaching towards your toes. Slowly descending towards the ground. Relax. Slowly rest your head, rest your arm, rest your legs. And then you go straight up, roll backwards 45 degrees, and then come up. You can soften your knees. or you can split the legs. You can keep legs together. So there are plenty of variations for the side teaser. Release back down. And it's a light touch down. You go straight up into the next one. Okay, so we're really focusing on side work. Now you're pushing that left hand down into the ground. You can keep your left elbow on the ground. You can keep your whole, just the left hand on the ground. See which strategy works better. And right arm reaching towards the right toes. We finishing off with a little pulses. So you can do it low or you can do it higher. In really like a strong teaser, like bringing hips or thighs really close towards your chest. And then return down to the floor, relax your head. All right, now let's change sides. We're gonna do side planks first. So again, down on the forearm, find a comfortable position for the shoulder. Maybe your right palm facing down or maybe right palm facing up. Turn slightly towards the ground, maybe like 10 degrees, okay? You can also rotate that shoulder a little more externally or internally. You want to be comfortable. Stack your knees. So by the time you lift your pelvis, your knees, hips, and shoulders are pretty much in a straight line. And again, we lift and we lower, attempting to perform that side bending. Right forearm is pressing down into the floor. Inhale to lower, exhale to lift. I'm using exhale for effort, for the concentric face on my right oblique. Again, ready to progress. You can, of course, go straight into side plank, or you can have your left hand on the ground as well. So you can turn slightly to the floor, like I'm doing right now. See if that connects you better with your obliques, if it's safer for the shoulder. And remember that in a side plank, there's a lot of weight going through the shoulder, so you don't want to compromise the shoulder while working on your core. And then relax back down so you can move on. As we're moving on to the side teaser. Stack the shoulders, stack your hips, use that block below your head so you don't feel any discomfort there. So first is just the side lift, lifting the legs, lifting the upper body ever so slightly, rolling backwards 45 degrees. So you're sort of facing your thighs now. And we are moving into hip flexion or teaser, so pulling thighs to the chest. So you've got left shoulder sort of aiming towards the left knee, right shoulder aiming for the right. And return slowly down. Light touch down. Breath in, exhale up, roll back, and reach straight legs if you can. Straight legs obviously will give you more sensation through your quadriceps, rectus femoris specifically, as this is the knee extensors, and then of course your psoas deep inside the hips, iliopsoas specifically, that is a hip flexor. Yeah, so again, obliques, external, internal obliques, and rectus abdominis, right, your six-pack muscle. Slowly coming down. Dock everything. Relax. Breath in. And roll back. Keep bracing, keep bracing, keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling, reaching towards your left foot. Right shoulder blade down and push towards the floor. So you're actually engaging your lats and sort of armpit muscles on the right side. Repeat. Modify again as needed. You don't have to go all the way. You can bend your knees, and pulses for progression this way or with straight legs for challenge. So maybe 10 little pulses and then slowly down, descending with control, keeping those legs together and soften. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you today. Please subscribe for more flows. I will see you in the next videos. Ciao.